Welcome to EC Council University's first webinar in a series of webinars. Today's webinar focuses on exploring the current in-demand career opportunities that exist in cybersecurity. My name is Mark Buck. I'm Vice President of Admissions, and I will be your host this morning for this morning's webinar. So again, as I said, my name is Mark Buck, Vice President of Admissions with EC Council University. Just to try and set the groundwork for today's webinar, first thing we're going to do is we're going to explore and fill you in a little bit about EC Council University, who we are, our legacy, the role that we play in the global cybersecurity arena. We're going to talk a little bit about the current trends and the threats that exist globally in the cybersecurity landscape. We're going to talk a little bit about the industries that are in need right now. There are specific industries that are hiring for certified and trained cybersecurity professionals. So we're going to talk about those evolving industries that have the greatest need for cybersecurity individuals to join their organizations. We're going to talk about the global employment look. What does the employment outlook look like for the next 5, 10, 20 years globally and worldwide for cybersecurity? And then we're going to talk a little bit about certification versus earning a degree, etc. So I do want to just kind of lay the groundwork with everybody to let all of you know, whether you're an individual that is just starting to explore cybersecurity as a potential career. You might be doing something else right now. You might be in IT, you might be in a non-IT background or field, and you're just starting to explore and put your foot in the water to start to research cybersecurity as a career option. Today's webinar is a perfect place for you to be. You might be somebody already working in cybersecurity, and you're looking to see how you can enhance your skill sets or your competencies, and you want to see what that global employment outlook looks for advanced opportunities. Today's webinar is a perfect place for you to be. You might be somebody who just has an interest in cybersecurity, and maybe it's a hobby, maybe it's an interest of yours, and you want to see how you can develop some skill sets to help you in that area. Today is a perfect opportunity. So whether you're an individual in any one of those three categories, you're in the right place. So a little bit about EC Council University. We actually have a parent company. Some of you might be familiar with our parent company, EC Council. EC Council is actually the world's largest cybersecurity training and certification organization in the world, right? So our organization has two arms to it. Our parent company, EC Council, and then the academic extension, which is EC Council University. Our CEO and founder, Jay Bavisi, is actually the creator and the original architect of the Certified Ethical Hacking certification. The CEH certification, and we'll talk a little bit about that later, it's the #1 sought after cybersecurity certification in the world. And it was actually created by our CEO, Jay Bavisi. What is the mission of EC Council University? Our mission is actually to create cybersecurity leaders, right? Leaders that have the talents and the skills to perform at the optimum levels for their organizations and ultimately secure the cyber world at a national, a corporate, and in individual levels. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of the threats that exist globally and worldwide, and why cybersecurity is so critical. What's our vision? Our vision is actually to impact the lives, right? Impact the lives of those students, those organizations, those individuals that we touch. And we here at EC Council University, we're actually dedicated to solving and being a solution in the world of cybersecurity and attacking those cyber threats that exist in a very, very menacing manner in today's world. A little bit about our accreditation and recognition. Some of you may have heard of EC Council, but not EC Council University. We are a 100% online university. We are accredited by the DEAC, the Distance Education Accrediting Council, the DEAC. The DEAC is actually the most premier accrediting body that gives accreditation to online universities. So we are accredited by DEAC. We are accredited by and recognized by CHIA. Also ACE, the American Council on Education. And we were, as well as the National Council for State Authorization, always have trouble with this word, reciprocity agreements, right? So these accreditations are very important. So when you're looking at a college or a university, you want to see, are they reputable? Are they credible? We are a US-based university. So whether you're a student studying in Singapore, Nigeria, India, you can be rest assured you're earning a degree from a globally recognized US university. As a matter of fact, we were voted in the top 20 most valuable online colleges in America. So, and that's, you know, that's an accomplishment that we're very proud of. Some of the other points that we're very, very proud of from a student learning outcome perspective is that 100% of our graduates report that they're employed within a year. Many of our graduates actually are hired prior to graduation because the employers and the organizations want to get a jump start and get access to our graduates before they actually graduate. So many of our graduates secure jobs before they graduate. 93.8% of our students indicate that they achieved those academic goals that they had before completing their program. 91.5% of our students are motivated that they follow through and complete the program. If you look at a lot of colleges and universities in similar programs, there are a lot of students that start that for one reason or another never finish. We're proud that close to 92% of our students actually complete the program. And we're even prouder that almost 90% of our students say that they would absolutely refer and recommend our program to a friend, colleague, or family member. So what's our global footprint look like? Like I said, we are a US-based university, but we have students all over the world. So this map really just kind of gives a footprint and a visual to where our students are at. Now, I will point out the dot in the US does not accurately reflect all of the students that we have in the US. We have hundreds of students across all of the continental United States. We simply have that dot there because we are based in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So that's where our main, even though we are online, we do have a campus in Albuquerque, but we have students in California, Nevada, Arizona, Oregon, Illinois, Florida, New York. So we have students all throughout the United States and then across the world as well as you can see. Just a few testimonials. You know, it's always easy for us to say, you know, how impactful we are with our students, but it's a little bit more meaningful when you hear directly from our students. So our first student, Devin Acosta, was actually a graduate in our bachelor's program. And Devin actually wound up with an organization called Ring Central. Any of you that utilize a phone service from your computer, Ring Central is one of, if not the leading provider of that application in the world. Devin is actually a senior Linux security engineer with Ring Central. And, you know, Devin goes on to say that, number one, he felt DEAC Council was very generous in the number of credits that we awarded when he was transferring in, as well as the certifications that he was able to transfer in. And those of you looking into a bachelor's program, we are very generous with accepting transfer credits. And what that does is that decreases the number of courses you need to take and the amount of money that you need to spend. But more importantly, Devin points out that we actually provided him with the skill sets and the competencies that he needed for career growth, right? Our next student is Takahiro Oda. And Takahiro Oda was employed by PayPay Corporation, and his position now is as a cloud infrastructure security engineer. And Takahiro was a master's student with EC Council University, and he points out how he switched careers. He was an IT engineer, and he actually switched into cybersecurity, and earning his master's with EC Council University helped him switch careers into cybersecurity, and he got promoted twice. First as a security analyst, and then ultimately as a cloud security engineer. So two individuals who, through their education with EC Council, was able to switch career tracks, enhance their career, and ultimately move on, advance, and get promoted. You know, one of the things we're proudest of here at EC Council University is our faculty. You know, you go to many colleges and universities, and you have faculty who haven't really worked in the real world, right? They've been faculty for 20 or 30 years. Well, our philosophy is we would prefer to hire working individuals, experts in their field, to come in and teach. Why? Because they can bring those real world applications into the classroom, into the lab environments, so our students get that real world hands-on application. You know, I won't go into each faculty member, but we have Timothy Hill. He actually works for the Department of Defense at Fort Gordon, Georgia, here in the US, and he's an information technology specialist holding 4 master's degrees. Yuri Diogenes, right? He works for Microsoft. He's a senior program manager. He holds a master's of science degree in cybersecurity intelligence and forensics from Utica College. Dr. Charlene Nixon actually is an expert in the cyber IT line, brings in dual master's degrees in cybersecurity, as well as a doctorate in management and philosophy. And then Pamela Garrett, who works for FedEx and is a project engineer, holding degrees in industrial engineering, as well as masters of engineering. So you can see that our faculty represent what's happening in the real world. So as a student, whether you're taking an individual course or you're enrolled in one of our programs, you're going to have access to this real world expertise and knowledge through our faculty. So cyberspace, cybersecurity, what is it? It is a battleground out there. Absolutely. In 2022, total damages due to cyber attacks actually reached $6 trillion worldwide. There's a cyber attack that happens every 39 seconds. Ransomware, which is where somebody goes in, they take control of an organization's or a government's information and they demand ransom. That happens every 14 seconds in the world. The healthcare industry alone, they had 701 successful data breaches in 2022, not even to mention the number of attempts that occurred that organizations were able to stop. Cyber criminals, they're actually investing in recruiting, in training criminals to become employees. I mean, who would have thought that? Criminals are hiring other criminals, right? So that they can become cyber criminals. So the need for cybersecurity professionals has never been greater. And we're going to get into some of those career statistics. So what are cyber attacks, right? I was talking to a student the other day who their thought of cybercrime really was, well, cybercrime is when somebody gets your credit card and they ring up some illegal charges, right? That's only one small fraction. Phishing. If you work for an organization, you may have been required to go through a training where they train you on how to identify phishing emails. Phishing email might be an email that it looks like it's coming from your boss or somebody from the organization, and they say, oh, here, open this email up. Tell me if this looks accurate. And when you're doing that, excuse me, you're actually giving the cyber criminals access to your database. We talked about ransomware. crypto jacking, with the whole inset of cryptocurrency, the ability to get in and manipulate cryptocurrency, state-sponsored attacks, right? And that really ties into all government agencies, state, local, international government agencies, right? The internet of today, which is IoT, getting into the internet, all aspects, attacking them. Smart medical devices and electronic medical records. If you've been to an emergency room or an urgent care facility recently, you'll notice they now take your information on an iPad. I was at the doctor yesterday. The doctor came in with an iPad. So the whole utilization of smart medical devices and EMRs creates a new opportunity for cyber criminals. Connected cars and semi-autonomous vehicles. I encourage you to Google some of the challenges Tesla has had with some of their smart cars, right? There are cyber criminals right now who can get into a smart vehicle and shut that car down, right? And now they're going after those automotive manufacturers, demanding ransom, saying, we're going to continue to do this unless you pay us ransom. And in many cases, those manufacturers, they're stuck because they can't have their vehicles getting shut down on the road by cyber criminals. Otherwise, nobody's going to want to purchase their cars. And then social engineering, just the whole social media. Anytime there is an advancement in technology, similarly, there's an increased opportunity for cyber criminals. And I do want to point out, if you have a question, jot it down, because we will leave some time at the end for some Q&A. So I would encourage you, if you do have some questions, log them in the chat, and we'll have an opportunity to address those. So what is the impact of this cybercrime, right? We talked a little bit about approaching close to $6 trillion, right? The global average has increased year over year from about 2.6% from 4.24 million in 2021 to 4.35 million. And that's just for the cost of data breaches, right? When you look at hiring organizations, 67% agree that there is going to be a huge shortage of qualified cybersecurity candidates, right? And we expect that job market is going to continue to increase to 3.5 million unfilled jobs, right? Companies can't keep up hiring with the number of jobs that are available. So that's going to continue to grow, that by the year 2025, which is a year and a half away, right, there's expected to be a shortage of 3.5 million unfilled jobs, right? And some of the top industries, and we'll talk about some of the top industries that were in 2020 that continue on, are healthcare, manufacturing, and finance. Then some of the top hiring organizations: Microsoft, Accenture, Salesforce, Palo Alto Networks, Cisco, McAfee, Fortinet, and CrowdStrike. So the job market is out there, right? I don't want to go through all of these, right? But just to give you an idea of all the industries, right, that are hiring right now: healthcare, mobile communication, banking, e-commerce, automotive, aviation, hospitality, manufacturing, government agencies, education. I want to point one out: aviation. We all remember 9/11 and the tragic results that terrorist actions played out globally, right, and the destruction, right? One of the biggest concerns is that terrorist organizations will now be able to overtake a jetliner remotely, right? I mean, that's not too far-fetched. So when we talk about cybersecurity and cyber threats, we're not just talking about stealing of money. We're talking about terrorist organizations, trying to get into government agencies, government information's databases, infiltrating, departments of defense globally, right? So terrorists can weaken government organizations. So cybersecurity It's a very, very serious area, and the global employment outreach shows that those opportunities are going to be there. I saw a data point that said the impact financially, right, the damage that's done worldwide, okay, from cybersecurity exceeds the entire world financial damage that all of the drug trade and world disasters combined impact. So if you look at the damage that all of the world disasters impact or wreak havoc on, you take all of those financial damages along with the world drug trade, you combine those two, all of the damages that happen because of cybercrime actually exceeds that. We already talked about the global output. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics actually expects that there's going to continue to be 33% growth in cyber security job market, and it's expected to be 4 times higher than all other occupations combined. So think about that. Take every job opening and every industry that's out there, combine them all, and they still don't equate to the employment growth that cybersecurity is going to have. So what are some of the in-demand career opportunities? So what are some of the positions and some of the average salaries? I'm sure some of you are thinking, well, what can I do with a degree or a certification in cybersecurity? I'm not going to go through all of these, but starting as a security specialist, average salary in the U.S. is $111,000. An incident responder, $110,000. Security administrator, $91,000. Right? Security manager, just very, very basic, $51,000. If you advance within leadership roles, a chief information security officer, average salary $221,000. An information security analyst, average salary from $90,000 to $160,000. Security auditor, $66,000. Penetration tester, $84,000. So these are the average salaries, and many of these positions are starting positions, entry-level positions. So if you're looking and you're just exploring entering into the cybersecurity field, these are some of the positions you would qualify for. If you're in the field and you're looking to enhance your credentials, these are some of the leadership and management roles you would be able to qualify for and ultimately exceed in and advance within. So, what does the landscape look like in India, right? India currently has a requirement of 30 lakhs cybersecurity professionals, and that number is going to increase tenfold in the coming years. These are some of the basic salaries and positions that they're hiring in India, very similar to the US. Excuse me. Network security engineer, cybersecurity analyst, security architect, cybersecurity manager, CISO, chief information security officer, and ethical hackers. We talked about that, right? Companies hire people, ethical hackers, to try and break into their company, break into their database to see where they're vulnerable. Another country that has a huge hiring need is Nigeria. And all African countries, Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, right? All of these countries have a huge need for cybersecurity professionals, right? There's a huge rise in Nigeria on deepfakes. A lot of times you'll see these internet scams, right? That are coming out. A lot of them, believe it or not, are originating in Nigeria and certain parts of Africa. Right? There's going to be a signature-based antivirus for cybersecurity that's actually going to go extinct in many organizations. So these are some of the salaries in the lower right-hand corner, but Nigeria is another huge area. And we enroll students in the US, in Nigeria, and then here Canada, right? Canada is another area that has an ongoing and an increased demand for cybersecurity cybersecurity professionals. So again, a lot of the similar positions I've talked about: penetration tester, cybersecurity engineer, security architect, digital forensics analyst. So these are just a few countries that are seeing increased demand. But again, you pick any country in the world, and I guarantee you that they're going to have a need and an underserved and an underfilled workforce. So what are some success indicators? If I'm looking at either entering in the world of cybersecurity, or let's say, for example, I want to advance, what are some success indicators I want to look at? Well, if you go on some of the job sites, 88% of cybersecurity postings specify that a bachelor's degree or higher in cybersecurity is required. So if you don't have a bachelor's degree and you're looking to advance or enter into the cybersecurity area, if you're just looking at earning certifications, ultimately you're going to want to look and say, do I want a bachelor's? Right? 78% of organizations consider cybersecurity certification programs when making hiring decisions. There are jobs that are out there that don't require a bachelor's, but you have to have a cybersecurity certification, right? So you have to have that certification that can demonstrate your ability. So how do we fill that need at EC Council University? So we have 5 areas of programs that individuals can look at. So in the beginning, I mentioned whether you're somebody just exploring cybersecurity as a hobby or as an interest, you're looking to enter the field, or you're already in the field and you're looking to advance your career. We provide a Bachelor's of Science in Cybersecurity. That's a degree completion program. So maybe you started a degree or you have some courses, but you've never earned that bachelor's. We can meet you where you're at and help you earn that bachelor's. We have a Master's of Science in Cybersecurity. The nice thing about the bachelor's and the master's in cybersecurity, if your previous education is in a non-IT area, that's okay. Because while you're in the bachelor's and the master's programs, we help you earn those critical, required, in-demand certifications. We see a lot of students that have associate degrees or bachelor's degrees in something like finance, right? So I may have an associate's or a bachelor's in finance, but I want to get a master's or get a bachelor's in cybersecurity. What a great dual set of competencies, right? That makes that individual hugely marketable in the workforce. So if I'm a finance organization and I'm looking to hire somebody to help protect my finance organization from cyber crime, what better to have than somebody that has skill sets in finance as well as skill sets and competencies in cybersecurity. So if you are in a non-IT area, or you don't have an associate's or prior credit in an IT area, our bachelor's or master's program, perfect opportunity for you. And if you do, great, then you're bringing those skill sets in. We also have a Master's of Science in Computer Science, and this one's a little bit different. There's a lot of masters out there in computer science, but where ours differs, we focus in 3 cybersecurity areas while you're in that program. We focus in artificial intelligence, we focus in blockchain technology, and we focus in robotics. So AI, blockchain technology, and robotics. Okay, I would really challenge you to find a master's in computer science out there that has all 3 of those areas. And if just look at the news, look at what's happening with AI today, right? So if you're looking to get a master's, the master's in computer science might be your track. Maybe you already have a bachelor's and you're not looking to get a master's, or you already have a master's. Maybe you want to get an additional certificate or get a graduate certificate. So we have graduate certificate programs in a number of areas. So you might just want to get a graduate certificate to enhance your skills or give you an extra set of competencies to get that next promotion. We've got graduate certificate programs. And then we also have our non-degree courses. Maybe you just want to get an individual certification in hacking. Maybe you're already working in cybersecurity and you just want to get a CEH certification or a CND, Certified Network Defender. You can come and take an individual course and get that certification. Maybe your first priority is, hey, Mark, I just really need to get a job first. So before I pursue my bachelor's or get another, I just need to get a job in the industry. So our non-degree courses can help you do that. You can take 1 or 2 courses, get that initial certification in something like hacking, something like network defending. Then you can get a job with an organization, and maybe that organization, once you're hired, maybe they help compensate you and provide you with some form of tuition reimbursement to go on and get that degree at the bachelor or master's level. A little bit about our teaching philosophy. So I talked a little bit about our faculty and how we hire, right? So what does that do? That lets us bring to you that real world experience in the classroom, right? So number 8, industry practitioners as faculty. You have access to comprehensive knowledge and the inner workings, including markets, systems. One of the things that we are very proud of, right, is our iLabs. So you'll see number 3, you'll have access 24/7 to our iLabs. Our iLabs, that's where you're working on these real world scenarios and you're practicing hands-on. I was talking to an employer, somebody who hires our graduates, and they said that when they look at our graduates and they look at the work that they've done in our iLabs, it's almost like they've worked for a company before because they've done the work in those simulations in the iLabs. You're going to have your opportunity, right? First, you're going to have an opportunity to network with prospects, with our alumni, network with faculty. Networking is really huge right now. And it's a critical factor in wanting to be out there and making sure organizations know who you are and that you're available for employment opportunities, right? There's an ability out there. If you just wanted to go get a piece of paper and get a certification, you could go take an accelerated course. You know, somebody will send you the videos. You can do it on your own, right? And if you're fortunate enough to have that level of expertise, you can do it on your own and maybe you're successful. We see a lot of our students that try to take those self-paced individual courses and they end up coming to us anyway. Number 1, they find out that the cost of the certification and the exam was not included in their tuition. And in some cases, that could be an additional $1,000 to $2,000 to take that exam. Whereas with EC Council University, all those certifications that you're earning while you're in your program, even your individual courses, the cost of those certification exams, they're built right into that. You look at number 5, we partner with organizations where we can provide internship opportunities, right? I just talked about number 4, the certification exam vouchers being in there. We have a very highly interactive LMS, which is a learning management system. We utilize Canvas, which Canvas has been rated as the most user-friendly, credible, and reputable LMS in the online education arena, right? And then we already talked about, our faculty. The nice thing too is there are some programs out there that they claim to be online. They're online, but they require you have to log in a certain day and a certain time for 2 hours to meet with your faculty. We don't do that. We give you access to your faculty, but our faculty, a lot of their lectures are on videotape, but they're still available to talk to you when you need them. But the nice thing is you can study anytime, anywhere. We have some students who say, I do my work 2 hours a day. I put 2 hours a day aside. We have other students who say, I travel for work. So I can't do any work during the week. So I do all my assignments and all my work on my weekends. So the beautiful thing about our program is you can adjust your studying and your coursework to fit your schedule and your needs. So it is true that maybe you just want to earn a certification and enter into the market, which is fine. Maybe you want to just get some certifications and get that job. But ultimately, I really want you to start thinking about a degree. Why? Why is getting that degree important? Number one, more employers are requiring them. We work with organizations. They're requiring individuals that work for them in cybersecurity that don't have bachelors. They're requiring them to go back and get a bachelor's. They're telling them, you've got 2 years to finish your bachelor's. If you don't, you're gone. We're going to require you. In many cases, those companies help that student, right? They go ahead and they provide opportunities for that student, maybe tuition reimbursement. Second reason is, I want, wherever you're at in life, I want you to stop and I want you to think, how many more years do I have to work before I can retire? I can tell you the average retirement age in the US used to be 65. It's now 71. So individuals in the US are having to work until they're approximately 70 years old. So wherever you're at in life, ask yourself, how many more years am I going to be working? Is it 20? Is it 30? Is it 40 years that I'm going to need to be working before I can retire, right? Well, during those 40 years, 30 years, 20 years, don't I want to advance? Don't I want to, advance into higher positions, maybe management, leadership? Don't I want to earn more through those promotions? So in many of those cases, qualifying for those advanced positions require you to have a degree. And again, along with promotions and advancement comes increased salary potential. If you look at the difference between what somebody earns without a bachelor's and what somebody earns with a bachelor's, the lifetime earning increase is over $500,000. And that's an average of somebody who's going to be working for another 30 years. So think about that. Over $500,000 in lifetime earning potential for somebody who's going to be working another 30 years simply by earning that bachelor's degree. We talked about having wider network opportunities. The other thing, having a bachelor's degree, employers have told us, somebody can go and get a certification and bring in a certificate, but by earning a degree and taking coursework in an academic environment, with an academic institution, in a classroom environment, even though it's online and virtual, they're coming out with a more well-rounded education. You're teaching them more about the cybersecurity landscape. They're not just going to take a test, say I've got the certification. They're developing critical thinking skills. They're developing problem-solving skills. That's what our iLabs do. They help you develop those critical thinking skills, those problem-solving skills. That's what employers are looking for. So earning that degree, again, you may not be at the point where you want to do that now, and that's okay. We can help you get started, but at some point, you're going to want to keep that at the back of your mind. So we do have our upcoming fall term starting in October of 2023. So for those of you who are thinking about, do I want to get started? Or I just want more information. I want to continue this conversation. We have an excellent admissions team who's here to help you figure out what is the right path for you. Again, it might be an individual course to help you get a specific certification to get into the job market. It might be helping you explore those graduate certificate programs to enhance your skills so you can enhance your career. Maybe it's earning a bachelor's, maybe it's earning a master's. Wherever you're at on your pathway, our goal is to meet you there and see if EC Council University is the right institution for you. Maybe it's not, but those additional conversations can help you. That's what we do. That's what we take great pride in, is having the ability to point you in the right direction, help you achieve your personal, professional, and your educational goals. And again, if EC Council University is the right home for you to help you accomplish that, we're more than willing to help you. If not, we can help point you in the right direction. So what I would like to encourage you to do, if you have any questions, we have enough time. Please go ahead and list your questions in the chat, and we can go ahead and start taking those one at a time. Come on, I know there's some questions out there. I don't think we've ever had anything less than 50 questions. Now, we're able to answer as many as we can. For those who have a question that we might not have enough time to get to, we will follow up with you. Any questions out there? How can one get a career into this profile in countries like India? Again, we are a global international university. So our certifications are recognized all over the world. So if you're looking to just enter into the cybersecurity market, let's say you come and you earn a certified ethical hacking certification with us. That certification is going to be recognized whether you're in India, Nigeria, Singapore, Canada, the US. We are internationally recognized. So if you're looking to enter into, and I believe the question was, how do I enter the market in India? That's absolutely how you get started. Talk to one of our admissions advisors. There's multiple certifications. They can help you figure out what you want to do. And let me give you an example. Certified ethical hacker. Pretend you have a home security system, okay? Or let's say you want to secure your home and prevent somebody from breaking into your home. You might hire a former criminal to try and break into your house, right? To see where you're vulnerable. Very similar with databases. Companies hire certified ethical hackers to try and break into their databases to see where they're vulnerable. Once you identify those vulnerabilities, what do? If somebody showed me how they could break into my house, then I'm going to hire somebody to come in and show me, how do I protect my home? What kind of security system do I put in? Same thing with a certified network defender. Companies hire CNDs to come in and help them create their security systems within their organization to prevent breaches of their database. Let's say I now need to hire somebody to investigate information and data breaches in my organization. I might hire a computer hacking forensic investigator. That's a real cool job. You're basically a detective within a company trying to identify who the cyber criminals are, gather information, gather evidence. Probably you'll testify in court to the evidence that you've gathered. It's a detective within an organization. So those are some ways somebody can get started. I may need to be corrected as I may not have the right information. How is today's world with the shortage in electricity and other power sources impacting cybersecurity industries in different countries? And how is cybersecurity infrastructures used on a daily basis being made accessible and affordable? Are there other solutions to power outages? By Emmanuel. I'm not an electricity expert, but what I can tell you is I do know that sometimes power outages, right? Think of ransomware, where I said somebody could get into an organization's database, right? They could get into an organization's database, steal it, and then hold that ransom for a company to pay. It's the same thing with electricity. Somebody could tap into an electricity grid, shut down electricity, and hold that hold that supplier of electricity hostage, right? And say, you know what? We're not going to turn your electricity back on until you pay us. So situations like that, utilities, whether it's water, whether it's electricity, right? There are cyber criminals that try to hack into water supplies, electricity supplies, because if they can shut down water supply or electricity, they believe they can hold the providers of those utilities and those essential needs hostage. So hopefully that answered that question. Can a student graduate from ECCU, be a staff at ECCU? I think that's going to depend upon your experience, right? Are you coming in with real world experience? So the question will be, let's say you're studying and you're earning a master's in cybersecurity. Are you working while you're in the program? I personally don't oversee or hire the faculty, but I believe they're going to not only look at your academic credentials, but your real world experience. Are you bringing real world experience into the classroom? So that is a great start. I think there was a second part to that question. I think that being a university staff would also be a career in cybersecurity. Absolutely. Eventually, and we'd love to see at EC Council University, but maybe you get your degree from EC Council University and your job is to go work at your alma mater or another school. Having that degree from ECCU can absolutely help you prepare for that. Is there an age limit of any of these certifications? We do have an age, we do have a requirement. The requirement is that you are 18 years old, okay, and you have a high school diploma. So you have to have a high school diploma to enter into our programs. Now, we do have some students that graduate early. They're not 18 years old, but they've earned a high school diploma or the equivalency. Right here in the US, we have something called a GED. So it's somebody, they didn't finish high school, but they went back and they took a series of exams. So they have a general education diploma or a GED, which is the equivalency of a high school diploma. Hopefully that answers that question. Here's a great question. How long will the bachelor's degree program and how much will it cost? Question by Muhammad. It depends. Every student entering into the bachelor's program is different, and here's why. It depends on how much credit you're bringing to the table and how much you're transferring in. So we require, to get into the program, we require 60 credit hours. That's the equivalency of about 2 years. So you will have had to have taken approximately 2 years, maybe a 2-year diploma, an associate's degree, but you come to the table with 2 years or 60 credit hours. Some students transfer that exact amount in 60 credit hours. We allow you to transfer in up to 90, right? So some students come in and they transfer 90. Some students come in and they transfer 60. So in that situation, the student who's transferring in 90, they have to take less classes to graduate than the student transferring in 60. So that student is transferring in 90, they take less classes, which means they pay for less classes, they finish quicker, and it costs less. But let's say worst case scenario, all you're transferring in is that 60. It takes about 2 years to complete those full 2 years in the bachelor's. But again, a lot of students, I encourage you, start the process, because a lot of students are surprised to see how much credit they can actually transfer in. And in many cases, they find out they're able to transfer in more than what they originally thought. So always encourage you, start that. Let us do an evaluation for you. Let us see where you're at and see how many of your credits you can transfer in. Also, if you're working in the industry and you hold cybersecurity certifications from EC, from our parent company, EC Council, or other institutions, as long as as it is a recognized and accredited certification body. We can transfer those certifications in and basically equate them to credits and award you credit so you don't have to take courses. So again, how much is it going to cost? It depends. The other piece is we do provide regional scholarships. So depending upon where you're at in the world, you might qualify for a regional scholarship based on the region of the world where you live. We also provide additional scholarships at EC Council University that you might qualify for. So all of these factors come to play. What we encourage you to do is get the evaluation, see how many credits are going to transfer, see if you have if you qualify for a regional scholarship, see what other scholarships you qualify for. Then we can present you with a whole package to see how much it's going to cost, how many classes you want to take, and how quickly you can graduate. I'm targeting, next question, I am targeting the October intake or the October term start. I really need more insight on how flexible the teaching schedule for those of us who are working from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Well, to the person that asked this question, speak to one of our admissions or one of our enrollment advisors. They can give you some scenarios. But like I said earlier, you might not have been on, or maybe you didn't catch what I said earlier. You make your own study schedule. There are no times where you are required to be online. We don't do that. We don't tell you, like some schools do, it's online, but yep, Tuesday nights you got to be online from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Or you know what, you have to be online from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. We do not do that. Ours is 100% flexible. You get to make and determine what your study schedule is. You want to study an hour a day and then make up your time on the weekend? That's what you do. We have a lot of students, they don't do any study during the week. They can't. They work full time. They have a family. They have other life responsibilities. So they carve out time on the weekend to get their assignments done. Again, our enrollment advisors can give you a little bit more insight, but the key point to walk away with is we do not have required times that you have to log in and be online. You make your own work schedule. You make your own study schedule. If you need help doing that, we can absolutely help you. Your instructors, our instructors, they do an excellent job with students that are in their first term to help look and say, what's the best way for you to schedule your work time? What is the cost of the master's in cybersecurity? Again, it depends, and I'm not trying to avoid answering that question, but that master's program can range anywhere from $13,000, $12,000, $13,000 to $22,000. It depends on your individual situation. Where do you live? What region of the world are you in? What scholarships do you qualify for the master's program? So again, I'm not trying to be evasive of the pricing, but there are so many variables that can impact the price. The majority of our students, once they sit down with an enrollment advisor and they see what scholarships they qualify for, again, the regional scholarships as well as the additional ones, they're surprised to see, because in most cases, the cost of the program is less than what they anticipated. Are there viable employment opportunities in Nigeria, specifically in the north, where some places don't know cybersecurity or awareness? Again, one of the things one of the benefits of coming to EC Council University versus taking a course on your own, you're going to have the ability to network. So you're going to be in class with people, other students from Nigeria, students that are working in Nigeria. We're going to expose you to internship opportunities in these countries. So we will help you identify what companies are hiring. And again, many of these companies, they hire our graduates, before they're done with the program, because they don't want those students to graduate and go work elsewhere. So we absolutely can help you identify where those employment opportunities are. So I applied for credit transfer, but it was rejected. Those credits are granted by other universities. What types of credits can be recognized? And can you answer my other question about the positions at ECCU? So I can't comment on what credits were rejected. We are a US-based university, so I can tell you that we adhere to our accreditation body, which is DEAC. Now, there are some other schools out there that might take your credit, but I'm going to challenge you to see what their accreditation is, right? Are you coming out with a US university, fully DEAC accredited accredited degree? I'd be more than happy. And it sounds like if you applied for that credit transfer, you've already been working with an enrollment advisor. What I would encourage you to do is reach out to that enrollment advisor, have them reach to me, and your name is Kazuhiro. I'll be more than happy to take a look at that, and we can take a look at that together. But again, we're very generous with our transfer credit, but I would need to see some specifics on that. And then can you answer my other question about the positions at ECCU? Again, not sure what positions. If you're referring to teaching, again, if you're looking at teaching and becoming a faculty member, there's all kinds of criteria we look at, right? Are you working in the industry? How long have you been working? What kind of work have you done? So it's not just about getting that. Kazuhiro, I'll be more than happy to put you in touch with the individuals that do our hiring for faculty, and they can absolutely let you know what their criteria is. But reach back to your enrollment advisor. We could take a look at those transfer credits and see maybe why they were not accepted. So I've got time for one more question. If you have a CEH certificate in addition to the other Microsoft credentials, and you want to pursue a bachelor's degree in security, how many years do I need to complete my bachelor's degree in cybersecurity? And I have hands-on experience in IT industrial, and I think it's pronounced Boshi. So Boshi, I would encourage you, get all your certifications together, the Microsoft certifications, the CEH, get them all together. One of the services we provide, one of the steps in the process, is for us to take all that. We don't want you to sit there and have to figure out what transfers and what doesn't transfer. Get all that documentation together. Then once you apply, we put you through an evaluation process. So we have probably the best trained experts in evaluating credit. We want you to get as much credit as possible. So our evaluators, we work with an organization. They do this worldwide. They're going to look at all those certifications. They're going to determine what can transfer in. Hopefully we can transfer in as many as possible. Then we come back to you and say, here's what transferred in. These are the remaining courses you have to take based on what you're transferring in. And then based on those courses, we'll tell you how quickly you can get through the program. So Boshi, get all those together. I would encourage you to reach to an enrollment advisor, and they can help you start that process. So folks, we are at time. I want to be respectful. Those of you that have submitted other questions, we can absolutely respond to you via email on those. You'll see our contact information at the bottom, www.eccu.edu. Or if you have a direct question and you want to get started looking at credits, what's going to transfer in, seeing where your individual situation is, I would encourage you to reach to us at connect@eccu.edu. If you reach to connect@eccu.edu, we can put you in touch a lot quicker and a lot sooner with an enrollment advisor to get your questions answered. So thank you very much, folks. Again, no matter where you're at in your journey, we can help you. I hope today was very beneficial. Hope you walked away with some great knowledge. And if you have any additional questions, please reach to us. That's what we're here for. With that, have a great day, a great evening, a great afternoon, depending upon what part of the world you're at, and have a great rest of your week. Thank you on behalf of EC Council University and the leadership team.